A very common question I come across is that why my twin flame partner, why the twin flame runner doesn't change. And this is the very question that many twin flame chasers have, that they feel that they are very, very aware, they are very self-aware of this special relationship, of this special bond. But it really seems that the twin flame runner doesn't seem to be interested or runs away, or maybe they say that gets scared. It doesn't really matter what label we put on the behavior of the twin flame runner, but the core here is that the chaser feels that if they could change the runner, or the runner would come into a realization, then the relationship would work. Then this separation would be resolved and they could come into a reunion. And in this video, I really want to talk about this topic and this very, very core, I would say, like pain from many, many different ways and many, many different levels. Because to answer this question is not as simple. So a simple explanation would be that the key problem is that changing is very, very difficult, because it means that you are leaving your old self behind and you are going into the unknown. It also means that you have to recognize that your old version had issues, was faulty maybe, or there was some problem with it. So this is something very difficult to recognize, to get to this self-awareness that the way you operate is unhealthy. And getting into this realization is not only difficult, but also when you are leaving this old self behind, the anxiety comes in, that now you don't know where you are heading. You don't know what is going to happen, because the only thing you know that wasn't good or that wasn't unhealthy, but it was familiar. It was working to a certain degree. And when you leave that behind, it's like that self, it becomes dead and you become into something very new. And now many chasers would say that, yeah, this is what the runner should do, and the relationship would be great, and the runner should finally wake up, and the runner should be blah, 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 blah. Okay, now you have to reflect back and ask the very same question from yourself. Why don't you see the same thing in yourself? That it's not only the runner has to change, it's also you have to change as well, because all that effort you put into changing the runner to be the way you want the runner to be, that effort should be placed within yourself as well. And it's not about that, okay, the runner should change and you should change. It's you both have to change, because both of you are unhealed. Both of you have childhood wounds that you are still reliving over and over with the exact same coping mechanism that you made as little children. So that very change you see that the runner should do, in reality, you have to do that as well within, and you cannot control another person. I always say that you should express your concerns in a healthy way. You should explain how the relationship should be in your idea. What are your expectations? What are your needs? But you also have to accept the fact that your partner will not see those things as a fault. Maybe they will believe that they are perfect, there is no problems with them, and they don't want to change. And this is when you have to recognize that you can. That's your only control. The control cannot go in the outside world. You can express the concern, but if there is no response, you can only change within. And that's when you are going to outgrow your partner and also outgrow this relationship. And now we can look at it from a different way. That the chaser feels a special bond straight away, because this type of a person, there is something that stirs them up. And this is what you have to be aware of if you are a chaser, that you are more connected to the awareness of the body. That's why you are more spontaneous, more reactive, more like this, a little bit up and down, up and down. But because you felt this special bond straight away, the problem is that this is the only thing you really pay attention to. And you believe that it means something. In reality, it means something. But it means that that person is your own opposite. And what that means is that wherever you are on a self-awareness journey, that person is going to be exactly on the same level, but as your own opposite. So if you are very, very unhealed, your own opposite is going to be unhealed. That's why I keep saying, the only control you have is to work on yourself, and if you become healed, then your own opposite is going to be a healed person. And that person has only the power to recreate this childhood wound. That's the problem, that only the wound is recreated. And the wound means is that you suffered from something. There is a deep pain within you. And as a coping mechanism, as a child, you created something in your mind. This is how you make the interpretation of that. And now it's re-triggered. And the problem is that the easiest for you, this is how we work, is that you make the exact same loop, the exact same interpretation of the same thing. But the twin flame really tries to force you to see the same thing differently. That how you can see the partner in a different way, and how you can see yourself in a different way, and also the relationship in a different way. Because from the partner's perspective, you were in love with them straight away, really, really fast. And now the only thing they hear from you, all the problems, how they should change, how they should be different. So all the conditions, all the demands, all the expectations. So from their perspective, they don't understand, they are confused that if you were in love with them so much, then now why are you so different? Why do you have all of these expectations that you didn't have in the beginning? Or if you really love them, then why do you even expect them to change? So this is kind of the way the runner sees it. But what they don't see, the runner, that a runner has a different personality, and the runner is more like, I want to be the best person, the best wife, the best husband, the blah, 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 blah. And the problem is because they cannot personalize. So the chaser has a better understanding on the individual. They can really see the other person's needs. But the problem with, so this was the chaser, the problem with the runner is that they are disconnected from their own internal self, their own individuality, and they are very connected to the social part, which means that they see big numbers. So they don't know what is the best for you per se. They don't have this internal interpretation. The only thing they do is that what would work for most people. And they want to be the best at that. Okay, what dating techniques, what dressing code, what behavior would be working as a probability for the most amount of people, but they don't see you individually. That's the problem. But in a sense, what they have been doing, it's actually working in general for people because they have a very high awareness of this part, how to be the best. But the problem is because they force themselves to be this way, they put a lot of effort into the relationship to work. After a while, because that's not really their true self, this is something they feel forced to do. And as soon as they see the signs that, oh, I try to be the best in this relationship, the other person just doesn't do the same thing, it's kind of first of all, wears off. It's like, if I put this much, but the other person doesn't put that much, I'm not going to put that much into it. The second problem is that the runner gets bored very, very easily. They like this newness. So that's a huge issue. And the third thing is that when they put so much effort in the beginning, then it's like burning the candle from both ends, and they get tired of it very, very easily, and they can also feel disappointed very, very easily. But they don't see that this overly being in the relationship and doing everything for the partner, it's actually way over the top. It's too much. That's well beyond normal. It's too much, so the other person of course wouldn't do the same, and they actually get exhausted of that as well themselves, to just do that much, because it's not realistic. So this type of a runner was a fearful avoidant that is kind of a mixture of the runner and the chaser. That's why they shift, that they feel disappointed or betrayed, and that's when they become more of a runner. And there is a different type of a runner that is more detached from the very, very beginning. And if you feel attracted to that type of a runner, you have to really question yourself, why is that? Is there maybe a possibility that you feel attracted to people you can never really get? And I mean, many people are attracted to people who clearly see that they are not ready for a relationship, or maybe they are in a relationship already and you are just on the side. And if you think that I'm judging you now, I'm not. I was actually in this type of twin flame relationship where the twin flame runner was in a marriage. And this is where you have to really question yourself, that why did you go into something that was clearly not working? And maybe you get to the conclusion that you are so afraid to choose someone who is emotionally available and emotionally more mature and would like to be in a relationship that you deserve, but you don't pick those people. That maybe the reason deep down is that this is what's beneath you, that deep down you don't even want to be in a relationship like that because it would be too boring for you. Or maybe you are so afraid that maybe it would work out or something, that deep down you actually choose people where the relationship would fail. And I'm saying questions because this is how you get to your own conclusion. There is no one conclusion for everyone because everyone is individual. But you have to ask very, very difficult questions from yourself in order to break your own self-limiting beliefs that keep you repeat the same loop over and over again. And now many people would be, okay, it's really great. What should I do? What you can do is that you take a piece of paper or a whole notebook, as I needed because there was just so much crap I had to work through, and write down your previous relationships, all of them. And then write down the relationship also with your opposite gender parent. And then there will be a second part to it, because now you wrote this down as you remember of your own awareness level and now, but now you try to remember how you felt at that time when that happened. Because if you had a boyfriend when you were, I don't know, 16 or 15 or 17, you saw it from that mindset, how you felt, what ideas you had about it. And that's important because you actually had those wounds created within you. And when we go forward, basically these remain unresolved, so they have an influence on us. So what you can do is you have all of this information and now you try to reprocess them. And you also try to see a pattern that you keep repeating. And as soon as you see this pattern, that's when you become aware of it. So now this pattern will no longer keep you in this loop, because as soon as you see that you are getting into the same pattern, you will be aware of it. So in the beginning, it's going to be difficult because you have to be really, really careful. You have to very, very conscious about it, that you can get into. But as soon as you keep repeating your new pattern and your new way of seeing things, that is going to be your new self. And this is the best thing that you can do for yourself in your self-awareness journey and connecting to your heart back. I hope this video was helpful for you, and see you in my next video.